learned nothing, we were told. We were always told that our people were pagans and savages. That's what made us bitter. You come from a bunch of pagans and savages, ignorant people. We just sit there and bite our tongues. We didn't answer back. We took it, but it did something to us.
I went to an Indian residential school also. It's called Blue Cove Indian Residential School. And this is back in Alberta. It was run by Roman Catholics and nuns. I can really recall exactly the first day I was in there because I was excited because my older brother went and I wanted to experience it because, just a young guy. And but after a few weeks of that, I found that it wasn't all that great. We didn't get any freedom at all, really. Like, we did an awful lot of praying anyway, for one thing. And this was the same for every day of the year we were in there. Get up in the morning. Everything that we did, we were told to do. So we didn't have really no free time.
And it was always compulsory that we go to residential schools. We're supposed to go at 6 or 7. But I never went till I was 9. And then when I went till I was 9, I only went to school for half a day. And then I used to look at the register, and it used to say all-day attendance. And I couldn't make out why was it all-day attendance when I only went half a day. And one day I asked the matron, how did they put that all-day attendance when I only went half a day? Oh, I nearly got punished for looking at that register. I had no business to look at it. I guess that's where I learned deceit from. But that's when I knew that was deceit.
Well, I think we didn't have the freedom that we would have at home. At home we had, like on the reserve, like where my parents lived, we had the whole point, to ourselves, where we could go and play in the woods, and we had the beaches, and we had the hills, and what have you. But like at the boarding school, like if you were confined, they had a big fence around. You couldn't go to the yard, or anything like that. You couldn't go exploring. And I think the hardest part of it all was leaving your parents and your family behind and all your relatives and friends. We used to get very, very lonely, I remember. We used to wish for our parents to come and visit us. But they used to come only to pick us up at Christmas time. And then again, pick us up when we were going home for summer holidays.
Well, I didn't really have much home life, because I went to that, I left for school when I was 7. And then after that, for 10 years, I was home for only 2 months out of the whole year. So that didn't give me much chance to really find out what it was like at home or away from the school.
I used to try to talk Cree when I was at school, and I was punished for talking Cree. And I couldn't talk Cree, but I used to try, but I was punished for it. And yet they asked me to interpret after growing up and learn. And my husband was punished many times, and he still can't talk Cree. He can't even talk Ojibwe right. But he was punished at school for talking Cree and Ojibwe, and he couldn't talk it.
It really made us aware of us being third class or whatever. Like the Indian people, the Indian way of life was no good and everything. And it made us so conscious of us being Indian that even now we're still working on this. Like, you know, I feel like when I get on the streetcar or the bus, I feel that maybe all the eyes are looking at me, you know, and probably this is thing everybody gets looked at when you get on the bus or something, but I feel it more with me because of the way I was probably made so conscious of it, you know.
I guess I was taught to be civilized because I was supposed to be uncivilized, but I don't think I was that uncivilized. Every Indian, as far back as I remember, the first thing in the morning when they got up, they went up and cleansed themselves in water in a lake or a creek or something, and they lifted their hands up with their palms upwards, and they prayed to the great Almighty to give them blessings for their families and for themselves. And yet when the white people came, they called the Indians pagans.
Went to school and they were taught that Big Bear was a traitor. And we were teaching them at home the real way we see it and the way our people, that he was a great leader, so that our children were getting confused. So we want to, this is the reason why it's so important that we see our history through our interpretation. One of our slogans is, if you want to use that word that sounds like rhetoric, but Native education, self-determination through Native education, and that it's up to our families and the communities to put this input instead of always saying, okay, Indian Affairs will do it, or the Anglican Church will do it, or someone else will do it. What we see in our school, and by just small, we see that the only way it's going to get better for Native people is that Native people make it better.
Think about the Creator, think about your family, and think about the Red Nation, or their brothers and sisters. Don't any bad thoughts, try to put them aside. Just think good. You have your mind open and your heart open. Also, it's a time when you have a special prayer for someone. And pray for all the brothers and sisters who are in the prisons, and in the jails, and all the people who are having problems with alcohol. We'll help them to find the right path.
We thought about the political and the social and the spiritual aspects of Native people as such, and the children were really being left out. Like there was nothing really giving them something to work with, and because we didn't have the knowledge, we weren't exposed to a lot of it ourselves. It was very scary at first, but I think because of that, we've all really hung together.
So a bunch of parents got together and we formed a school council, and we didn't get recognized as a school in the beginning because we didn't meet the standards of the Ministry of Education. But earlier in the year, we got accepted as an alternative school, and we're operating out of the Winchester Public School.
Our first day of school was quite hectic. We thought, well, maybe we'll have it right in the house, eh? Because we didn't have any streetcar fare. We all had to wait until our welfare check came in the mail before we could even move. It was that hectic.
It's the Rockies. Where are the Rockies, Jim?
I know where.
Where are they?
In Alberta.
Yeah, they go all the way to BC. They're BC.
I know.
On the coast.
And they touch the sky and the snow is all. No one can ever climb that.
we have to fulfill our obligations under the Education Act, providing the basic skills, and we cover that in the academic section in the morning. And the second part of the day, the afternoon, is spent with resource people coming in, or programs that they go out to that brings these people bring in some input from the community with regard to their native background, whether it's in drumming and dancing, art.
I can tell just from the beginning of the school that there's been a lot of changes made in each child. They're a lot more self-assured in a lot of ways. A lot of them were very turned off school because they've had a lot of bad experiences. And now some days I'm sure they're not that eager to come, but most days they're usually very eager to come to school and learn about their culture. A lot of these children really do know much about the native culture, and because we've sort of exposed them to things, they are very interested now.
What's your name?
Trina.
Trina, how do you like the school, Trina?
Fine.
Yeah?
Mr. Woods.
And have you been to any other schools?
Yeah.
What schools did you go to before this?
TV Hood.
Which one?
Ow, TV Hood.
What was that school like?
Ow in there.
Hey, hang on. What was that school like?
Pardon?
What was the other school like?
Yucky.
How come?
Because I kept calling names.
Some of them really seem to have had some problems with socializing in the other school situation. And they bring the same problems here. And with really small numbers, they become very, very visible. Like one kid misbehaves or something like that, it throws the whole group off. But I think the need is just to present a situation where they don't feel threatened, in which they can learn to socialize.
See, a person is swift of foot means they're a very good runner. They're quick. Okay, so she ran swiftly to the house of Nokomis. Who's Nokomis?
Grandma.
Right. That's how you say grandmother in Cree, isn't it?
No, Ojibwe.
In Ojibwe, oh.
Remember you learned that in
Was it in Cree? Kukum?
Kukum.
Join the snow, jam the door. 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 Grandfather, Great Spirit, we give thanks for this new day, Grandfather. This new beginning, another chance, Grandfather. We give thanks that we can all be here together, Grandfather. To have this feast, that we would all become one here, Grandfather. That we would remember that this food, it comes from Mother Earth. And she is very kind to give it to us, Grandfather. I'd like to say miigwech for the young ones who are here today, Grandfather, the little ones, because it is for them that we are doing this, Grandfather, the school. They may all grow in these ways, that they may become spiritually strong, Grandfather, and walk that red road that our elders talked to us about so much, Grandfather. I give thanks for all these things, Grandfather. Miigwech, 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 mekan, 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 mekanada. Oh.
my name. Colossus. Three names. That's our family name. Now let's eat it. Here, take it. Take it. Don't drop it.
School was to be, as we conceived it, an extension of the home. Each parent belongs to a kind of council or board of directors or council that meets from time to time, dealing particularly with problems or just to give input in, and that's when we ask them. We do consult them, or they give us some direction. I think that's what we want. We want them to give us the general strategy.
Our purpose of our school has always been is to help the children, but also to help the parents be able to. And already we see the home life changing in many parents' homes. And by examples, we can set good examples that other parents who maybe are drinking will quit drinking. We don't say you to be part of our council, you cannot, you're not allowed to drink. We're saying that you can, but we're trying to, by examples, encourage them to quit drinking altogether, because drinking does affect ourselves as Indian people, and it does affect our children. And if our children are seeing fighting, arguing at home, they cannot come to school and concentrate on what they're trying to learn. The children, their attitude towards us is really changed. They see us with new eyes, they respect us, and they see that we respect them. I think I'd just like to remind everyone how our school really got started. It was our children who made the final decision. My little boy, we call Harper, one day he was fighting every day at the school. He was learning things he didn't thought was really irrelevant to him. He was racist attacks in schools. The principal at the time didn't seem to do anything about it, and he just hated school. And we used to have to push him out the door. And I remember it was last June, it was last May, he was going, I said, Harper, you got to go to school. And he says, he put his arms like this and he says, no, I've had it, I'm finished, that's it. And he wouldn't go back. And that, to us, we said, what are we going to, well, at first we thought it was kind of amusing, little boy doing that. But then we had to really listen to him. And we knew that the decision, we were thinking about, doing something. But our children made us make a decision. And we said, okay, if we're not going to send him to school, and if we don't deal with it, we're going to have children's aid on us, we're going to have truant officers, we're going to have police, and we were prepared to fight. We would not allow that to happen. So we said, okay, what we have to do is have an alternative.
I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you, but you're going to be going off this summer. You're going to be seeing a lot of things, and you're going to wonder why some things are the way they are. Anybody, all of you heard of Nanabuzo?
Yeah.
Nanabuzo, Nanabush, Wasakachuk, Guskap, well, they're all the same. And I'm going to tell you a little story about Nanabush. The story of Nanabush and the birch tree. It tells you why the birch tree is the way it is today. Nanabush was sent to this world by the Creator a long, long time ago. So he could do the Creator's work. He could do the creation. It makes the world the way we see it now.
Unless we know the legends and the stories of creation, and unless we know the songs and the ceremonies, we really don't know who we are. And our children have to have that from the beginning. And that really is the center of the school, the basis of the whole Native Way school there.
Nanabush is very tired one day. He decided to take a rest under this tall white tree. He fell asleep. He was just starting to drowse, just starting to fall asleep, and he heard a noise. He opened his eyes. He says, "Who did that?" No answer. So he fell asleep. He said, "Maybe I'm dreaming." So he started to fall asleep again. And he heard the sound again. Open his eyes. So I'm trying to sleep. Who's ever making that noise? Stop making that noise. I'm trying to sleep. This is Nanabush talking. No answer. So he falls asleep again. Nothing happens for a long, long time. Nanabush just laid there. Just laid there with his eyes closed, pretending he was asleep. And then after a long time, I began to hear that. He opened his eyes quickly. You could see the branches of this tree rubbing against each other like that. He says, aha, that's who it is. It's you, is it? And the tree laughed at him. So he says, you better stop laughing at me or I'm going to give you a good licking. But the tree kept laughing at him, so Nanabush picked up his red willow switch and he started to whip the tree. And he whipped it all day and all night. So nowadays, if you go and see a birch tree, you'll see the little marks left in that tree where Nanabush whipped them. That's where the birch tree got its marks. And that's the way it is to this day.
How did the children learn about the spiritual ways of your people?
They just sat there and listened to what the parents had to say. They really listened when the parents spoke. And anything they didn't understand after there was quietness and the elder or whoever was speaking, after they quit talking, the children would ask questions. They'd ask their mother, or they'd go to their grandfather and ask him why he was saying, what was he saying. They were curious, just as curious as the kids are today. They were wanting to know everything.
Do you know what a Nanabush looks like?
No one knows what Nanabush looks like
How come?
because they never saw him.
I've seen a banana bush is skinny like a banana.
No. No one knows what he looks
He's
like.
a spirit, eh?
He's a spirit, yeah.
Half spirit, half human, right?
Sometimes he can take a form, sometimes he can look like a man, but no one knows. No one knows. Nanabush has no shape. No one knows what Nanabush looks like.
Nanabush doesn't look like us, eh?
No one knows what Nanabush looks like.
He doesn't look like us. He looks different than us, eh?
No one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows what the Creator looks like either.
There's a lot of things that I know they've learned a lot since they've been going to school there. And they're becoming more, proud of themselves, like being Indian, And I'm really happy about that because I want them to be, to respect themselves and hold their heads up wherever they go.
Do you like learning about your own people?
Yeah, I do. I like learning Indian stuff. I like going to powwows. I like making chokers. I like making Indian necklace, beading, batiks, and that's all.
If we want to control our own lives, we must have that input into education. And know, like they say, okay, this is a new idea we're doing. It's not. Our grandparents had control of our education. And all we're saying is that we're tired of privileges. We want basic human rights. The right to educate our children the way we want them educated, about their culture, their heritage, to be able to speak their mother's tongue. And that's all we're asking, In fact, we're not asking it, we're demanding it. But if you're going to demand something, you got to be able to back it up with hard work.
Yeah.